everybody, Cindy here. I wanted to share a bread recipe that I created with you. It's a low carb recipe. I've been researching online, trying to find that thing for me to stick with my low carb way of eating. And you know, growing up, I ate bread every single day, butter and bread, and I miss it so much, and I need to make sure that I'm satisfied, that I have something similar so that I don't feel deprived. Now, I have made other recipes that I found online and on YouTube, and nothing has hit the spot. They're either too fluffy, eggy, something, I don't know. But this recipe surprised the heck out of me because I just started throwing things together, experimenting one morning because I wanted bread or toast, and it tastes like whole wheat, honey whole wheat bread to me, and it's so filling. It's great in the stats, and let me just share the recipe with you. Also, I found this, I was doing some research on sweeteners, and I found this Peruvian, Chilean natural sweetener that is made out of, I believe, anyway, you guys Google it. It's Lucama Powder. Now, disclaimer, you guys, please make sure that you do your research on any sweeteners that you start taking, because everything has a side effect. Even though this is natural, it may have a side effect with your medications or something. Talk to your nutritionist, talk to your doctor. Make sure you research stuff online. Anyway, I add two teaspoons of this, and I believe that this is what makes the bread taste like honey whole wheat, because it is somewhat of a sweetener. It's not very sweet, but it has some kind of a caramelly aftertaste, right? So might be good. If you don't have this at home and you don't want to spend the money, try sugar-free caramel syrup or something like that, maybe 1 tablespoon or something. It may not come out the same, but worth a try. But this is awesome. It's has anti-inflammatory properties. It's an organic raw superfood. So if you can find this, I found this on Amazon because I read up on it online, and then I saw it in one of these like Whole Foods supermarkets, but it was a little bit too pricey there. So then I looked at it on Amazon, and I got it for a better price. Anyway, let me show you my recipe. I'm so excited. I hope it comes out good because I want you to try it. Hi everybody, make sure to preheat your oven to 375 degrees to start off. Okay, now I'm gonna sift the dry ingredients, which is half a cup of tapioca flour, which I already got on me. Okay. Half a cup of coconut flour. Two tablespoons of protein powder, unflavored. If you put in a protein powder that's flavored, you might get a different taste. I don't know. Okay, this is Psyllium husk. What I do is I put it in my Ninja, and I kind of flake it out more because it comes in thicker, bigger husks. So it's better to grind up in the Ninja or food processor. I don't know if you can see it here. See, it comes thicker and grainier, and when you put it in the Ninja, you kind of powder it down, and it's fantastic. So I grind down two 2 tablespoons, and it comes out to 1 in powder. So you sift that. Okay, and this is why you sift it, because you want to make sure that there are no lumps and that everything gets incorporated. Okay. Now, this is a 1/4 teaspoon here, but I try not to put that much salt. So I'm just gonna take 1/2 of a 1/4 of a teaspoon. I think that's 1/8 of a teaspoon. Put it in there. Okay, and make sure that that's in there and everything is incorporated. Now we're going to use 3 teaspoons of baking powder. Okay, make sure that that gets incorporated too. Okay. And now the Lucama powder, 2 teaspoons of that. Let me just show it to you. It's like caramelly in color. It's very fine, like confectioner sugar. But see the color? And it smells like I don't know, like yeast, I think, a little bit. So 2 teaspoons of that, and you mix everything together. Make sure everything is combined well. Okay, set that aside and put a piece of parchment paper on your loaf tin. This is I don't know if you can see, 9 1/4 inch by 5 1/4 and 2 almost 3 inch high. Anyway, so I spray it first. I put the piece of parchment paper because last time it got stuck, even though it looked pretty and tasted good. So I spray it first with non-stick spray, put the parchment down, and then I butter it. You can put it in the fridge depending on how long you're gonna take with your mixture, but that's good enough. So make sure you do that before you do anything else. You're gonna take 6 eggs and separate them. Make sure your eggs are at room temperature. It's not critical, but I believe that it works better with the recipe if the eggs are in room temperature. So separate your yolks from your whites. In your yolks, you're gonna put 1/3 cup of erythritol, stevia, or whatever type of sweetener you like. I use erythritol. Mix it well. I just bought this little mini whisk. I love it. It works much better than the big one. Okay, to that egg and sugar mixture, you're gonna add 1 teaspoon of vanilla or more, depending on your likes. I use a heaping teaspoon because I love vanilla. Okay. To your egg, vanilla, sugar mixture, you're going to add 1/2 cup of melted butter. Love it. Whisk that. Okay. Make sure that everything is incorporated. Okay. Now, This is 1 tablespoon of apple cider vinegar. In my research for low carb baking, I found that if you add apple cider vinegar to baking powder, it helps to leaven stuff up, as well as the Psyllium husk that we added to the dry mixture. So keep that in mind. Leave this mixture there. Make sure it's incorporated. Now you are going to puff up these whites, okay, with a blender. Hand mixer, sorry. You're gonna puff up the whites with a hand mixer to peak by adding a 1/4 teaspoon of cream of tartar. I had never used this before, but let me tell you, when you add this to egg whites, it's like a miracle. Here we go. I'm gonna peek these and fluff them up, and I'll be right back. I think we did good. Look at how beautiful. Beautiful peaks. Okay, so we're gonna put this aside for a second, and you're gonna take your dry ingredients and your butter egg mixture, and you're gonna combine them. So since this is tapioca and coconut flour is gonna like suck up all of the wet ingredients really fast. You'll see I'm making a mess. So I just want to make sure everything is mixed before I put in this, because it's gonna dry up. You'll see it's gonna dry up really fast. Okay, so make sure you got all of your ingredients in there. I apologize, my kitchen is so small that the angle of the camera may not be fantastic. It's incorporated very well. And in actuality, it's a little more moist than the first bread I made. Okay, you see the mixture, you guys? It's kind of like dry, right? But it's gonna be very fluffy once we add the egg whites to it. And we're gonna fluff up the egg whites a little bit more. Okay. Now you're gonna take maybe a couple of scoops of your egg whites, and you're gonna mix it into your dry ingredients, well, into your other ingredients. And don't worry about bursting the fluff of the eggs now, because these you're gonna fold in gently, because what's gonna make the bread very loafy and fluffy is that you maintain the fluffiness of those egg whites in the batter. So see, it loosened it up a little. So now you're gonna add another portion, and this time be careful in your folding that you don't kill the egg whites. See how I'm picking up from the bottom and folding it? And it's, let me tell you, it is a workout, but it is so worth it. So we add another portion. So see, we don't want to throw everything in because we don't want to kill the egg white fluff. The egg white fluff. Anyway. See how fluffy that's coming out, you guys? All right, I'm going to put the rest of my egg whites in here. Sorry, I'm covering the camera. Trying to make sure I get everything because this is the key ingredient to this bread. So guys, I know that bread is not supposed to be sweet and I added the erythritol to it, but who doesn't like sweet? Look, I got all messy. Who doesn't like sweet bread? Come on. If you don't want a sweet bread, you don't have to add it. I would play around with the recipe if I were you and you don't want a sweet bread. You can add sesame seeds to this bread. You can add nuts to this bread. You can add cocoa powder and give it a flavor to this bread. So yeah, I plan to play around with this recipe because let me tell you, I made almond bread from a recipe I found online. It was delicious, but it was a little bit heavy for me, and I don't know, it didn't keep in my fridge as well as I thought it was going to. Once you put it in the fridge, or even if I left it out overnight, the properties of the sweetener would change with the butter, and it just, I don't know. It was okay, but it wasn't what I was looking for, you know what I mean? All right, you guys, so look at this beautiful batter. It looks like corn, like the corn muffin batter, but fluffy. All right, so I'm gonna pour this into my loaf, my tin. I'm gonna add a little bit more butter to the sides to make sure. See? To make sure that it doesn't stick. Because after all this work, you don't want this bread to stick. You want it to come out beautiful. I can't wait to have a piece. Oh my God. Woohoo! I don't know, but baking has become such a passion for me, and I don't eat everything, of course. What I do is I cut it into portions. I cut it up in 1/8 of an inch, and I think I'm getting about 14 slices. This is gonna last you forever. I suggest, I'll tell you how to cut it up and store it so that you can have it for the entire week. Bump it a little bit, put it in your oven for 30 minutes or so and check it, and then you do the toothpick check to see if it's dry, and I'll be back. So we're putting the bread in at 375 degrees for 30 minutes, and there it goes. Just pulling the bread out of the oven. Do you see that golden beautiful color? That's what you want to see. All right, I'm gonna let it cool and I'll come back to show you how I cut it. So if you cut it in half first, and then I'll show you the slice. This is about the slice that I eat. I eat about 2 of these, so it's about what, an eighth of an inch. And look at this wonderful thing. So you can toast it with a little butter, or you can put it in the toaster. Let's taste test. 18 slices for this loaf.